Come and dream with me.
Here's what TV speakers sound like listening to a film through a tin can. Okay? And I think it's 60-40, 60% visual, 40% audio. So to suggest just watching a film that I wished I could have watched in the cinema using my TV speakers is disgusting. I could watch an episode of some Seinfeld, Friends, I don't know, random shows. I can watch that with TV speakers. I'm not watching a film for the first time that I've been looking forward to with a sound system I've paid over $1,000 for, not working. I will wait.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, Explosion Network's premium media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, is it crazy that YouTube just turned 21? I'm your host, Ash Robley. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
That is wild. At some point during my rant there, I did notice you click start record, and I had no idea if you're going to use any of that at all, but I just kept going. So
yeah, I don't know if I feel like I have to because it'll explain why I'm laughing through the intro, but yes.
Maybe. I don't know, but I was like, I'm finishing mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
The moral of the story here is, if that makes no sense, the moral of the story for anyone listening is I've postponed watching a film to record something for Animated Wonders. Shout outs. Go subscribe. This is the second time I'm pushing the recording for it because I haven't watched the film. Could have watched the film without my sound system. I'm refusing to watch it without my sound system. That is the core, the crux of the situation that I'm in. And Ash simply doesn't get it because he has no appreciation for sound or frame rate or visual quality, HDR, Dolby Vision, any of those things. Sits out here watching movies on his Nokia 2600.
With my headphones on, yeah.
With your headphones on. Wild.
Yep.
Wild word, Julian.
But yes, 21. It seems like a lot. It makes you feel old, but it also feels like it's not enough. You should be older.
No, it sort of adds up because if I'm 34 this year and you're 44 then, but no, if I'm 34 this year and I was aware, like I was a teenager, no, I wasn't a teenager, I was probably in like grade 6 or whatever it was when YouTube started, and then I remember I started making my...
You would have been a teenager. You would have been 13.
Yeah, so I started uploading videos the first year that YouTube was out. So that does make sense. Back in the day when YouTube was good and it was all original content and they had all these really cool features, and now it's just ruined.
Except over on Explosion Network's channel, which you can go see all of our shorts and find all our podcasts there.
Yeah, that's
pretty
all
good
right,
on YouTube.
That's all right. There are so many things I miss about OG YouTube, like so many things. Did you ever use it back in the day? Like, do you have any idea what it was like?
I mean, is it really that different to what it is now?
Huge. Well, hold on. All the stuff I'm talking about are from like a creator point of view. But like, if you went onto someone's channel and you would have it would give like lists like top this creator in Australia overall, top 56 highest creator in people and blogs channel, or all these, like, you got all these things, and you could click on those and look at the rest of the videos, so you could find more locally driven creators being driven by category, by country, and all these sorts of things. And they used to have a guy in charge of promoting and finding local, like, it would have been different per country, but obviously I'm talking Australian made YouTube creators, and like featuring them on the front page of YouTube. You used to open YouTube and the front page was a video picked by someone to help push them onto the front.
Curation is what you're saying.
Yeah, it has no curation anymore. So yeah,
it does. The robots curating everything.
Yeah, I miss it.
AI taking people's jobs again, ruined it. Everything is what you're saying. All right, on today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving thumbs to trailers, and give this week's top 3. I'll kick things off reasonably light in the watch we've been watching this week. I finished watching the latest season of Invincible, season 5? That's a good question.
Right. I think it's fun.
Season 4. Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah, I enjoyed it. This season mostly tackled Mark and his family having to deal with the Viltrumite War, which is the war between his alien race of origin and the coalition of nations, which are trying to stop the Viltrumites from, taking over the world. And if you've seen the Viltrumites attacking Invincible, you can understand why there would be a very considerable threat. After a few episodes on Earth, Mark goes to outer space with his brother and his father and have to fight the Viltrumites, I guess. It's overall a reasonably simple season. It's definitely not as, I know, there isn't the complex web of characters that there have been in some of the other seasons. Like, because it is so focused on that element, there's only like 6 to 7 characters that you probably really need to keep track of. You just stop using those numbers.
The funniest thing, the problem is that I probably wouldn't. I've sort of. I don't even do it around anyone else. There was a guy that used to work at my old job, and like he knew it drove some people crazy there, and I knew it too. So we would constantly sort of do it to each other. But I haven't been doing it much at all anywhere else, other than here when you do it, because to see your reaction every time makes it worth it. So
yeah, okay.
But
yeah, I thought it was really good. There's some really great fight sequences and stuff. The thing that's interested me the most is online. There seems to be a turning on this show in that people are really upset about how the animation of the show, and they believe it is quote unquote slop, just because I guess it is technically not as detailed as some other shows with the animation and that kind of stuff, which is fine. Like, they're simplistic designs. They're going for like a super Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe from back in the day. I believe it's all animated America rather than like being sent overseas, which would, if they did send it overseas to be done, that would be like reducing the cost of it and that kind of stuff. So people are really upset because obviously it's made by Amazon and they've got a ton of money, and then they spend all the money on voice acting. Shitload of celebrities are coming through and doing voices, but they don't think the animation quality is up to stuff. I would just say I feel like it's a stylistic choice.
People love the word slop to describe something that is off what they consider good, I guess.
I keep seeing on Instagram and stuff, like people have like put AI filters over the top of it, like Instagram Invincible clips. It's like the most obnoxious lighting choices, like deep dark shadows over people's faces and like slightly brighter colors and that kind of stuff. It's like, no, this would, if I just sit through an hour of this, it would kind of infuriate me. So yeah. So if you dropped off the show, good luck to you. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed this season. I'm looking forward to season 5 and seeing how it tackles it, because it kind of very much leaves it in a very interesting place with Mark, where, spoiler alert, he does not die at the end of the season. The show is called Invincible, a title card, but he comes back with like really bad PTSD. Let's see how he tackles that and that kind of stuff. I think the other really interesting thing about this season and like the show so far is the slow redemption story of Omni-Man, because he does have to come back to Earth for the first time. There's a really prominent clip that's probably gone around of Mark's mother and Omni-Man meeting for the first time since he committed the atrocities in the first season, and her finally getting to say what she wanted to say to him, and it's like very brutal. Sandro, fantastic, should be nominated for voice acting at the Emmys next year. Or this year, I guess. But yeah, kind of seeing the Omni-Man story redemption arc, I guess, has been really interesting, because, is this somebody who could ever be redeemed or be considered redeemed after doing the atrocities that we saw him do in that first season? I think Cecil has a really great line where he says, who's the head of the Earth Defense or whatever, Omni-Man's like, I just saved everybody on this planet. Omni-Man's like, oh no, Cecil's like, come back to me when you've saved 1,941 times. It's like, that's how many people you killed. So how many times you got to save everybody? So yeah, Invincible, it's a pretty great season, in my opinion. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment. Dylan, you've also watched an animated show. You've watched Stranger Things, Tales from 85.
Yes. Stranger Things, Tales from 85 is the spin-off, I guess that's what we're calling it. I mean, it's sort of like it's basically a new season of the show that happens to be animated and doesn't have any of the original actors. But it's not like a spin-off because it's still all the core cast, I guess. I don't know. Like, and it plays out like a proper season mostly. So I don't know. Nonetheless, it's set between seasons 2 and 3, I think, is the setup for it. And that our core group of characters, they think it's just after they think they've shut off the upside down forever and nothing should be happening. This is all before Vecna gets involved in all that shenanigans, of course. But and then that they discover this, I would call it, it's like a parasitic plant-like creature running around, and then they like it links back to obviously the upside down. But so there's a new type of creature introduced in this that comes from there. I've seen people also, there's a lot of stuff in this that people already like being like, the stuff in this that ruins the plot line doesn't make sense. I don't really care because I thought it was a really good season of the show and much better than the last season of actual Stranger Things. My care factor for the chronologically making sense and all these other factors kind of drops when the rest of the story doesn't work out as well. So they meet. They do a good job also, I think, before I get to the new character. I think the other thing that I really enjoyed about this is it's back to especially after the last 2 seasons, and again, mostly that last season, this feels more like those first couple core seasons of Stranger Things where you have the proper bond between the characters. It's got more of that actual 80s inspired feel to it. Like it just felt more like those first 2 seasons of the show. I mean, even the 3rd season, it felt like more in line with those than it did the last one. You get some banter and stuff between them at stuff that, obviously we know how it plays out in the future. So, obviously Mike and Eleven, they're blossoming romance. There's a few funny scenes between those two, and then also Hopper, of course, being like trying to still keep them away from each other. And there's like a funny scene where he basically answers the door to Mike, I think in the 1st or 2nd episode, where it's basically doing the "don't hurt my child" sort of thing that plays out. Then you've got like Lucas and Max's romance beginning to blossom a bit in here. They do a good job at like giving you a bit more of that building up. Other characters do show up as well, but not as much. Like Nancy and Steve are probably only in a couple episodes, I think, but make like their funny appearances when they happen, including like Steve is going on with a date. The first time he shows up, he's going on a date with another girl called like, I can't remember, like Natalie or something. So, and she's like, "Oh, I had such a good night." And then Steve's like dropping her off at her house and goes to say like, "I had a good night too, Natalie," or whatever. But then goes, "Yeah, I had a really good night with you too, Nancy." Like says the wrong name and then turns into a whole thing. So they're again playing around with the whole like different emotions of the characters that how it plays out, but it sort of helps add in a little bit. Then you have the new character who's Nikki, played by Odessa Azion. Azion? Yeah. She's like I don't know, punk rock chick, I guess, is the sort of vibe. And so that casting works quite well. She does a good job of providing a voice for her. We first meet her when, I can't remember if it was Will. I think it was Will's getting like teased or something at school, and she sticks up for him and like pushes this bully kid to the ground. Because she's like quite a big, she's a not like big girl, she's like tall and imposing, I guess, a bit. So and then she ends up falling in with the group for this. As to why that character shows up and isn't featured in other seasons, I guess that's would be a spoiler, but yeah, like I don't think there's any it's not it all plays out and makes sense as to why and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed the animation. It's got like this, I don't know, I mean, you can tell it's computer, like they've gone for this. It definitely isn't. I know that that's the type of thing that sort of I think would have looked better is maybe if they'd not gone for the computer generated animation and more of a like proper lines drawing style. If they wanted to create the proper, we want to do a 80s morning cartoon sort of thing. I'm like, well, like it does, like story wise and vibe wise, yes, but also it doesn't look like that. It looks like more of a modern day CGI cartoon and stuff. But I mean, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It fit the overall tone. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of Stranger Things, but didn't enjoy the last season as much and sort of preferred the simpler times, because this is more of the simpler times. It's less of a convoluted plot. It's more of just straight upside down shenanigans that you sort of had in those first couple of seasons.
All right. So I've watched the second season of Running Point, which debuted this week. Of course, Running Point, the basketball themed sitcom starring Kate Hudson, who plays a reformed party girl who is now leading CEO or chairman, CEO of the Los Angeles Waves professional basketball team. At the end of last season, her brother, who was the former head of the company, head of the team, has come back into the fold and is kind of secretly gunning for her role, and is looking for a way to get her out of being president or CEO and getting the role for himself, played by Justin Theroux. So that's kind of the overall arc for the season of like him trying to make he's playing the Hannah Waddingham kind of role from the first season of Ted Lasso, of trying to get them to screw up and that kind of stuff, but they succeed. It's a fun comedy romp. It's never too deep, never too dark, regularly amusing. It relies heavily on the charisma between all the stars and that kind of stuff. All the chemistry between all the characters and that kind of thing. So like if you think about it too deeply about the basketball elements of it, you'll just kind of go mad, because the season is only 10 episodes, yet they get through an entire season of basketball, which is like 80 something games, and they just skip over large swaths of the season as if it's not really that important. Interesting additions this season. Ray Romano is now the new coach of the team. He's quite enjoyable. He's very much a sad sack kind of coach who's maybe struggling to connect with the players it's his first coaching gig after his wife died. When his wife died, he got super sad and lost his job. Another team, basketball team, that started just going to a coffee shop every day. He's so ingrained in this coffee shop that he has brought a desktop computer to the coffee shop and set up for monitors and everything.
My man.
He has brought in, and there's the normal shenanigans. There's no players and different problems with sponsors and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Kate Hudson's really fantastic. The whole supporting cast is really good. So it's a very enjoyable sitcom. Only the 10 episodes. So yeah, Running Point. It's not going to win any awards or anything, but it is a fun time it's a fun way to spend a few hours watching Running Point. All right, so that's everything in our watch history. Let's move on to a bit of film news. And I guess the big story this week we're post CinemaCon, things have got very light, but we need to talk about the success of Michael. Some may have danced on the ceiling for Lionel Richie, but when it comes to Michael, whether it's Century City, AMC, or in Brazil, the UK, France, Spain, Mexico, etc., they're bullying down in the theatre. Already Universal is seeing repeat business for the Lionsgate pick, on which they took foreign, which has fueled $120.3 million offshore for a global debut of $117.4 million. Michael isn't just a movie-going experience, but a communal one. Easily, Michael is the second best year-to-date after Universal's Super Mario Galaxy. And like-for-like markets and at today's currency rate, the Jafar Jackson movie stands as the biggest opening weekend ever for a musical biopic, both including and excluding previews and the China market. That international opening of $120.3 million in 82 territories outstrips the offshore start of Bohemian Rhapsody, $79.9 million, and it's way ahead of Wicked for Good, $75 million, and Wicked, $65 million. Not only is Michael the best opening for a musical biopic in several markets, but is also the best offshore opening in some countries for a biopic. Dylan, we have both not watched this movie.
And both don't really plan to watch it, I'm pretty sure.
No, I guess. Are you surprised by how well it's doing? It's already breaking all kinds of records.
Didn't you ask me at the end of last week's episode? Didn't we ask how we both felt about it? And we both said that
it's probably
we thought it would do well. Yeah. I'm not shocked. People still have this, I don't know, the public's reception, understanding, whatever the current day, 2026 agreed opinion on Michael Jackson seems to have fallen straight into the separating the art from the artist thing clearly in a particular way. All the reports, I know if like I think it was Hollywood Reporter or broke it first, but all the reshoots that they paid to do were to fix the final act, including too much negative stuff, I guess. Or
No, so apparently they wanted to include some of the allegation material inside the film, but as part of their settlement with the party that they settled with, they weren't allowed to do anything commercial with that stuff. So they weren't legally allowed to include that stuff in the movie.
I'm sure there
Which
would have been a way around.
seems weird to me because we both believe this is we assume very heavily this is a very sanitized is just going to shame Michael in the best possible
From
way
what I've
because
read,
his
it's
family is
very-
heavily involved.
Yeah.
So you can't imagine that footage being anything other than Michael's being accused and he's looking in the mirror and then flashback to the beginning of his career and then not really diving into it at all. So maybe it was just a ploy to say, we tried to include it, but we weren't legally allowed to. Our hands are tied.
Yeah. I just think that to make a biopic about Michael Jackson and to sweep under the rug everything that he was accused of and that he said and did, and even all the stuff that you can have opinions on but still be like, dangling your baby over a balcony is kind of weird. Like all of these things of his life, I just think if you're going to make a biopic and just focus solely on the positive things, it's not really a movie I'm interested in watching.
I mean, I don't really have as much of an issue about that. I'm just concerned that apparently it's not a very good movie.
Yeah.
And even people who are like big fans of, like, I've seen people who have said they're big fans of Michael say this is a travesty to him and he should come back and haunt the people who are involved and just not a very good biopic. I guess my question is, obviously this movie has been critically panned and yet audience scores are like way apart, like very, very positive. Do you feel like the relationship between critics and audience has shifted irreversibly to the extent where obviously you saw it earlier this year with the Super Mario Galaxy movie where critics were very harsh on that one and fans went in and said, I didn't really care. I had a good time. It's a 10 out of 10. Critics and audience just not on the same wavelength as much anymore.
Yeah. Yes. I think the problem is at some point, and I don't think you could ever properly pinpoint where the change happens, but at some point, I think most people had a proper understanding that film criticism is like, film is an art form and thus it gets film criticism. And that doesn't mean necessarily that means you'll have the same opinion, but film criticism or art criticism, what have you, has been always part of art. Like, as long as there's been art, there has been people critiquing it, and you know what I mean? Like, they're sort of hand in hand to go. Now, I think at some point when film has now shifted into being less of an art form by combination of people not making it as, like, treating it as such as the makers of it, and then also the audience no longer treating it or thinking it of that, and now we just treat film as another source of entertainment or a time killer or something like that, then people just no longer care. It simply just becomes, well, that was a good way to waste. I enjoyed it. It's 90 minutes. It was whatever. Who cares? You know, like I just feel like at some point it just shifts and people they just view film as a. And that's what I was going to say. Of course, I'm not trying to be like too uppity of you can't have fun with movies, or some movies are just popcorn flips or whatever. But I just think at some point, especially in our TikTok age that we live in, and again, I always say these things as someone I'm happy to partake in some TikTok viewing and whatever else. It's just with all things, there's lines and whatever. But I just think in the current TikTok-y age, people just view film as like it's a longer TikTok, and TikTok is just an entertainment form. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like the brains are wired differently now, and I think all of that connects. Whether or not it goes, it's not a straight line, but I think all these things connect.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's an element of the audience just very much wanting, not necessarily watching, but consuming content so much that anything that just makes them feel anything that makes them feel good in any sort of way is, worthy of high praise, because they are taking in so much content. I also think film critics are just looking at films in a slightly different way than people who are going into, I'm just here for a good time. And film critics are, was this movie worth spending millions of dollars producing? How does this movie compare on this scale to every other movie that's ever existed? I just feel like, people just get so incredibly defensive about movies, especially online. Any single comment of anything talking about this movie that's been negative, there's a ton of people in the comments. Whether it's bots or not, I'm not sure at this point, because fucking the internet, am I right? But tons of people like, I enjoyed this movie. It's a 10 out of 10. You don't know what you're talking about. Fucking critics. You're all terrible. You told us this movie was really good, but it turns out it was shit. So now I never trust critics ever again.
Yeah. The collective, like, the classic IGN 7.9 thing. It's like, but just even the Rotten Tomatoes gave it a such and such. It's like Rotten Tomatoes didn't give it jack shit.
Anytime you go on a IGN review post, someone has posted, they gave She-Hulk 9 out of 10. And they just hold these grudges like forever. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah. And it's just always so weird to me, because I'm like, you just don't understand. IGN is not a person.
It's a bunch of different people. It's not one person doing the review. It's not a collective.
In the old days, we'd call a masthead. There are different writers that work there, and someone gave She-Hulk a 9 out of 10, and you may disagree with that particular writer's opinions, but I don't think that same person's writing this new thing that you're looking
review
at,
for the indie video game. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So
completely different people. But yeah, I also feel like more and more people are just happy to do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, point at the screen, and that's all they kind of want. Yeah. It was like seeing Michael again. Like, you could just go on YouTube and watch actual Michael from the sound of it. So yeah, interesting discussion to have around this movie. It'll be interesting to see how it maintains. Is it going to do Bohemian Rhapsody numbers? Is it going to maintain its interest, or was it everybody was really excited, went in the first week and like, cool, and now they've got the next thing to go to? We'll have to wait and see. But interesting, this leads into a new segment I'd like to introduce, Dylan.
A new segment.
This is a segment I thought up that's called There's Always a Hater. Because we all think we're not a monolith, Dylan. We don't all think the same. But there are some great, great movies that there are idiots who have watched and giving a 1-star rating. So I'm going to read some reviews for a movie, an acclaimed movie that have been given 1 star. And you tell me what the movie is. Very simple. I'm not a blind fan of this director who automatically says this is a great movie just because he made it. This movie was honestly a struggle to sit through. 3 hours of overly serious people talking and talking. For what? There's no suspense, no thrill, just endless scenes that seem to go nowhere. The dialogue is dense and not in a way that adds depth, but in a way that feels like it's trying too hard. The film stretches out every conversation, which only kills the pacing. The whole movie felt like it was stuck in a lecture mode. For a story that's with as high stakes as this one, I expected intensity, but it was flat and left me bored. I'm tired of hearing, if you didn't like it, you just have a short attention span. No, I have a decent attention span. I just expect a movie that is actually be engaging. 1 out of 10. Unless you're willing to sacrifice your life for endless chatter with little payoff.
Oppenheimer?
That is Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Fair to say, they're pretty wrong about that.
Oh, they're totally wrong. Wild take, but sure.
All right.
Endless conversations with no payoff. My man, the bomb goes off. That is the big bomb.
I can't believe that this movie is being called a masterpiece. It's okay at best. To me, it feels like the director wanted to represent the feelings of the lower class population towards the rich, but he failed miserably because its portrayal of both the rich and the poor is so illogical. I honestly feel like it was just watching an adaptation of a bad fanfic. I think only people who are easily impressed would enjoy this movie.
Sure about that, to be honest. No? Lower class and high class, master class. No, don't know.
All right, here's another one. Hang on, let me...
Give backups for the
give
same
it away
movie.
too much. Yeah.
Are we on IMDb? Like, where are we?
Yeah, we're pulling this from IMDb.
Okay.
Worst movie by far I've ever watched. Plot is absolute crap, predictable and boring. How did this even get nominated? How was this even released? I want to believe that all the people that voted 10 was only because it had won an Oscar, and they blindly follow whatever gets a prize. Don't waste a single second of your life watching that.
Nah, still got nothing.
No? All right, this one will probably... This movie is trying to say that capitalism is causing both the rich and poor to become bad. The poor are scam artists lying for money, and the rich are using the poor to nurture their kids.
Parasite.
But it's a mess of a story, not a masterpiece. In the real world, the poor will definitely have to fight major barriers to get ahead. This movie doesn't have any depth. The symbolism is amateurish. The characters are one-dimensional and inconsistent, and the dialogue between rich and poor is totally unrealistic. The movie makes it seem like poor are all scamming, humbling, bumbling psychopaths, and the rich are all naive and emotionally clueless. Sorry, it's an ignorant view of the world. It makes me realize how disconnected from reality the entertainment industry and its official reviewers have become. Or maybe Hollywood is just trying to gain more money and audience share in overseas markets, so they promoted this one. Yes, that is Parasite. Would you say those are
weird? Yeah, what? That was such a weird Hollywood promoted. Also, it's like saying it's, I don't know, like purposely painting one class a certain way and another to prove a point and not making them realistic when that's the point, and then be like, that's a bad thing.
All right.
Interesting.
Final one for this week. Yeah. I didn't mind the first film that much, although I didn't really think it did Mike's work a lot of justice. But this second installment was all just daftness. It may appeal to kids, but that doesn't have anything for adults. You have to sit through it. And even then, I think the kids would struggle with it. To say that the prison scene was far-fetched is an understatement, even for a kid's film. It's jam-packed full of celebrities. And I think it's a travesty that some of them always have their names attached to this film. Maybe it's time for this actor to stop trying to do accents. The best bits was the end, and not just because it was finally over, but because it was a certain actor's final scene, and it was what the whole movie should have been like. The only nice touches were the bits where the band played. Even my mother, the eternal childlike mind, said she never wanted to watch it again, and she used to get up early to watch Pig and Noddy not that long ago.
Blues Brothers 2?
No, critically acclaimed film. All right, next one. Friends told us this was hilarious, so we bought tickets for our family of 4. However, our children refused to go and see it, having heard from school friends that it was terrible. If only we'd listened to their wisdom. So my wife and I set out, knowing we had 4 seats to choose from. About 15 minutes of the movie, I realized it still felt like the title credits were rolling. Nothing happened. I started to nod off, but realized my wife was already asleep, so fought to stay awake so that one of us would know if something happened. This actor appeared and was so mildly amusing without getting a single laugh. The one laugh I heard in the cinema came from the chef's tattoo. After that, the laughs dried up, and I spent the last 20 minutes checking my watch, hoping it would end soon. Walking out, we both started laughing for the first time that night, and we compared notes on how much we hated this film.
I still don't know what the movie is, but that's just a wild review of anything anyway.
All right, last one. Let's see if you get from this. This movie is so ridden with cliches, I feel like my intelligence was being offended. There are too many coincidences, nostalgia, perfectly well-kept poor places, badly acted, directed, not funny. The only way this movie has such a high rating is because most of the people who rated it are people who had already seen the first movie, liked it, and decided to watch the second, while the people who disliked the first one didn't bother watching the second one and didn't rate it down. I'm an exception that has not seen the first movie, but seeing as this was so highly rated, I thought to give it a shot.
Oh, is it that Zed Zuya thing or whatever?
No.
Nia? No.
These are all reviews for Paddington 2.
What?
Yeah. Would it be fair to say they're wrong?
Oh my God. 15 minutes, I'm asleep into Paddington 2.
I'll give Paddington 2 props, though. There's only 4 reviews at a 1-star. So that's something.
Still what?
That's still
Hold
high.
on. And also, now thinking back on the other one, our kids had heard it was bad. Put your kids down.
So there's at least 2 families that have bad opinions.
Yeah, just get rid of them. Put the kids down.
Get rid of the kids.
It's time to get rid of those kids.
All right. Let's move on to a tried and true segment, proven segment. Of course, every week there's a lot of small news about new films coming out and casting announcements, that kind of thing. We like to cover those in a segment called Would You Want to Invest?, in which I give Dylan a bunch of details about a new project that's coming up, and he tells me if he would partially invest, fully invest, or not invest. And history will be the judge if he's right or wrong. Are you ready?
Always ready.
Right. This one's from the Hollywood Reporter. If the page will move.
It takes too long.
Why won't this page load? Here we go. Kumail Nanjiani, Jim Belushi, Brittany O'Grady, and Taylor John Smith have joined Tatiana Maslany in Greenbank, an independent sci-fi horror thriller Pangaea Studios' Bigwell Entertainment and Nocturnal Kid making, I guess. Josh Rubin, who previously helmed the rom-com slasher Hard Eyes, is directing the feature, which begins production this week at Panagria Studios in Atlanta. Written by Aaron Horowitz. Greenbank is set in Greenbank, West Virginia, a real-world town that has been known since the late 1950s to have a quiet zone that severely limits radio and electronic transmissions due to scientific research being conducted in the area. This is since expanded to include Wi-Fi and cell service. O'Grady is playing the lead of the story, which follows infant sleep trainer who discovers that the parents of the child she is caring for are far more than the clueless yuppies they appear to be.
Yes, fully invest. There was a lot of good words. Good cast.
Mm-hmm.
Good director we like.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't think you've watched any of his movies, but you like him.
I like him.
Yeah, you like him on things. You haven't watched his films, though. Yeah, fully invest.
Great. Side note, it was also confirmed this week that Josh Rubin will be directing Hard Eyes 2 coming in 2028. Do you feel like Hard Eyes makes sense for a sequel?
I'm excited. Yep. Quite enjoyed that. I think it's slightly, you know what? And I decided I enjoyed it when I watched it. I don't remember what I said on here about it. Like, I remember being positive, but not like overly positive. I think as time's grown, I sort of want to rewatch it because I'm like, oh no, it feels maybe it needed a little bit more attention because I didn't see many people talk about it. It was fun. It was fun.
You missed your chance. Valentine's Day is already gone.
True. Good point. Next year.
What begins as an exciting project turns out to be a terrifying nightmare.
Sounds too real to be fun. No invest.
Haunted pool deal.
Rough.
All right. Jonathan Tucker, Amin Joseph, Ethan Suplee, and Derek Luke have inked deals to roles as main cast in Southern Bastards, the recently announced Hulu drama pilot from director executive producer Reynaldo Marcus Green, with Arjuan Ellis coming on board as a guest star. The actors join an ensemble led by Kevin Bacon, Aaron Kellyman, and Tim McGraw in this adaptation of the award-winning graphic novel series by Jason Aaron and Jason Latour. The show follows a tenacious military vet into Crawl County, Alabama, in search of her estranged father. What she finds is a murderous hornet's nest of organized crime run by the winningest high school football coach in the South.
Yes, fully invest. I've read some of the comics, like a lot of things that they announced where I've read some, maybe a volume, but never managed to read more. But yes, from what I recall, is it a Vertigo? No, it's an Imprint thing, isn't it? Or trying to remember.
I think it was Image.
Image, that's what I mean. Sorry, not
Yeah.
Image. Yeah, full invest.
All right. Recently, a leaked casting note hinted that Connor Story would star opposite Melissa McCarthy in a new film called Turpentine. And now we can confirm that he's in talks to star in the thriller from the Penguin's Craig Zobel. News of involvement comes following our story yesterday as McCarthy circles a project based on a script by Jason McCarr. Turpentine follows a deadbeat son who hires friends to rob his own parents to pay off a bookie with disastrous results.
Who was it again?
Connor Story and Melissa McCarthy. Connor Story is one of the heated rivalry guys.
Right, okay.
They've blown up since that show came out.
Partial invest because I assume people watch it.
Fresh Off Fear's Oscar win for Sinners and a completed deal for Joseph Kosinski's recently retitled Miami Vice 85. Michael B. Jordan is out to town with Battlefield, a feature adaptation of the Electronic Arts video game that has Chris McQuarrie attached to write, direct, and produce. Deadlines confirmed. No word yet on the plot of the feature take. Jordan is looking to produce a May star as well, though it's too early to say. EA will produce a long-running first-person shooter franchise. Battlefield launched with Battlefield 1942 in 2002. The game centered on multiplayer warfare across land, sea, taking place in various settings, from both world wars to Vietnam in the near future. Over the course of its lifetime, the franchise has sold tens of millions of copies worldwide.
Fully invest. So when I saw this the other day, whenever I saw it pop up, I saw Battlefield movie first. And I went, we don't need fucking, like my initial reaction was, fucking don't need Battlefield movie, that's dumb. And then saw the cast and director, I was like, I'm all in. You swayed me.
Okay. Side note, which one will be better? The Call of Duty movie or the Battlefield movie?
Battlefield movie. Christopher McQuarrie.
Who's doing, Taylor Sheridan's doing the Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, fucking. Taylor Sheridan's one is going to be like, hoorah!
Cowboy hats.
Battlefield 1's going to be like crazy Battlefield Hardline inspired. I don't know.
Crazy shit.
Chris McCoy is going to send Michael B. Jordan out of a building as it's blowing up and shoot it for real.
Focus Features is staying in the Curry Baker business. The company, which will release the Baker written and directed movie Obsession on May 15th, has picked up Anything But Ghosts, a separate feature that Barker directed and co-wrote with creative partner Cooper Tomlinson. The duo also co-starring Ghosts, which wrapped production. Little is known about the project, but Aaron Paul has been revealed as among the cast, led by Tomlinson. Barker and Tomlinson rose to internet fame as the duo behind That's a Bad Idea, the internet sketch channel that has drawn favorable comparisons to Tim Robinson's Netflix darling, I Think You Should Leave.
One up, one down. I don't really know anything about that or the comparisons or the people, so, but I mean, comparisons to, yeah, sure, we'll go one up, one down.
Yeah, it's interesting because Curry Barker has also been confirmed as the director they've tapped for the A24's Texas Chainsaw Massacre film.
Which I'm iffy on.
This is to write and direct, yeah. Despite his film not coming out, I think you'd wait. Anyway.
Choice.
It began in a dorm room. It began life in a college dorm room. Well, technically it was 2,700 years ago, but we'll get into that later. Getting a multi-million army on TikTok and earned a real-world record deal. Now Hollywood is quarreling. Epic, the musical telling of Homer's Odyssey, is getting the movie treatment thanks to Jerry Bruckheimer. Bruckheimer, the mega producer behind Top Gun and Pirates of the Caribbean, has partnered with Jorge Rivera Jimenez, the creator, composer, songwriter, producer, and performer behind the viral sensation, and Atlantic Music president Kevin Weaver to produce an animated musical adaptation of the epic, no pun intended, saga. Chad Oman of Jerry Bruckheimer Films will also produce. The project is in nascent stages, but is taken out to studios and streamers for presentation by the CAA. The project will be Bruckheimer's first foray into animation, but not into a lot of music. Many of his films have been musically inclined and part of pop culture's soundtrack, going back to 1980s classic Flashdance. Vera Herons began Epic as his ambitious senior thesis at University of Notre Dame. Things took off when, during the pandemic, he began posting his creative process on TikTok in 2021, then began releasing the sagas as musicals starting in 2022. Self-released EPs began hitting the #1 spot on iTunes, the #1 on the soundtrack charts, where at one point Epic occupied 9 of the top 10 listings. The serialized music format re-envisioned the classic tale of the war heroes, gods, and monsters filled decades-long journey home to his wife and son through a modern, immersive lens, struck a chord with millennials and Gen Zers who fell for the influences of musicals, anime, and video games. They even got to participate on the worldwide casting process. Fans also created animatics to go with the songs, showcasing a range of styles and genres.
I don't know about any of that.
An internet sensation that's gone by.
Did you know about this?
I'm slightly familiar. I'm aware it's a thing.
One up, one down, because apparently it's a thing. That sounds like it's popular.
Sounds like it's popular. It's pretty cool. All right, last one for this week. He may be at the upcoming Cannes Film Festival preside over the jury, but Park Chan-wook will also be hitting up the market with a movie package that has serious firepower behind it. Park is assembling A-list cast for his passion project, Western, The Brigands of Rattle Creek, with Oscar winner Matthew McConaughey, Oscar nominee Austin Butler, 4-time Emmy nominee Pedro Pascal, and Chinese star Tang Wei all aboard for the ride. S. Craig Zahler, original screenplay, is moving forward as Oldboy and The Handmaid director Park's next film, which will be on sale in Cannes with Patrick Wachsberger's legendary label 193. The movie is understood to follow a sheriff and doctor who seek revenge against a group of bandits who use the cover of a torrential thunderstorm to rob and terrorize the occupants of a small town. The story will alight on themes central to Park's overt of vengeance, retribution, the consequences of violence, and the power of memory and family, but this time in the American West.
Yeah, double thumbs up. That ticks a lot of different boxes. This is a Nicholas Pryor joint as well.
Yeah, well, you say S. Craig Zahler, and you instantly think
he's probably read the book.
I don't know if there's a book.
There might be.
No, it doesn't look like it. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
All right. I guess we'll have to wait and see how history judges your choices just then. Let's move into talking about some movies that are a little bit closer, though. In Thumbs for Trailers, of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, we've got Spider Noir, developed by Oren Uzil, starring Nicolas Cage, Lamont Morris, Lee Jong Lee, Karen Rodriguez, Abraham Popola, Jack Houston, and Brendan Gleeson. Ben Riley, an aging down on his luck private investigator, grapples with his past as the only superhero in 1930s New York City, the Spider. When an exceptional case comes his way, Riley must become the Spider once more. Dylan, what do you think of this full trailer for Spider Noir?
Looks great. I'm so keen for this. In another world, I couldn't imagine this working, like when they announced it and everything. I might just say, I probably won't work. But I also think just, I don't know, it's not even the Nicolas Cage thing. Like, everyone looks really good in it.
Mhm.
But now, and watching the trailer, I'm committed to the black and white thing now. No, man, get this color out of here.
You didn't like the color at the end of this trailer?
No, like, just because especially.
Well, we watched
it's
the first trailer and we watched the first teaser in color from memory.
Yeah, but it's just like, especially watching this one and like the full noir feeling, and they're shooting it in a particular way and obviously style and everything. I'm like, if you watch it in color, you're sort of ruining the.
I know, because I've also watched it in color and it's like very beautifully color graded and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to. Maybe you have to watch it twice.
Maybe you have to watch it.
Just an excuse to put out two sets of content. Yeah, 2 thumbs up for me. It looks fantastic. More powers than I was kind of expecting. I was expecting to be much more like, I don't know, grounded, I guess is the easiest way to describe it. But there is definite swing in. It looks like he has got Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man webs. Like, he hasn't got web shooters. He's got like internal webs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like there's going to be a bunch of bad guys that are like superpowered or whatever. So there's going to be a lot of action in here as well. It's not just going to be some, noir detective case. There's going to be fights and swinging to be had. So very keen for Spider Noir, which is coming to Prime Video on the 27th of May. Next trailer is for Off Campus, developed by Louisa Levy, starring Ella Bright, Belmont Camilli, Mika Abdalia, Antonio Cipriano, Jalen Thomas Brooks, Josh Houston, and Stephen Kalin. A college-set romantic drama chronicling the unexpected love story between a music student and the university star hockey player, exploring themes of love and the complexities of adulthood through deep friendships and enduring bonds. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Off Campus?
One up, one down. Looked fine. The only thing I'm confused about is I feel like I've watched a trailer for a movie like this before, and I can't think of what it was. So that's sort of my problem, is that it's reminding me of something, but I can't even think of what it is. But it's definitely like I've seen something similar to this, but maybe I've seen too many things similar to this, which just means this sort of was giving me, I don't know, I've seen this before.
Is not To All the Boys I Ever Loved?
Maybe. It could be.
And Lara Jean and what's his face?
Maybe. I just feel like I've seen this plot line a couple times before, but anyway, well, why not one day?
Really, this plot line of let's pretend to be in a relationship so I can get with a boy and then we end up falling in love with each other. That storyline feels like you've never seen it before.
No, it feels like I've seen it multiple times.
You feel like you have seen it? It's like a classic rom-com situation. 2 thumbs up for me. I think it looks really good. It looks like a fun, potentially raunchy teen drama or whatever, a college drama. I feel like there might be unwanted comparisons to Hidden Rival just because the main dude is also playing hockey. Yeah, everyone looks good. It looks like it'll be a fun time. Everybody seems charming enough. So, and I like the song they picked in the film, in the trailer as well. That's a bop. So, Off Campus is coming to Prime Video on the 13th. Next trailer is for Leviticus, directed by Adrian Chiarella, starring Joe Bird, Stacey Clausen, Jeremy Blewett, Ewan Leslie, Davida McKenzie, Nicholas Hope, Zamira Newman, and Mia Wachowska. 2 teenage boys must escape a violent entity that takes the form of the person they desire most, each other. Dylan, what did you think of the latest Australian horror film, Leviticus?
It looks great. Unless they're riding the coattails of the Talk to Me success. Was it Masley? No, the production company, Masley Pictures, whatever it is. But like, there's certainly a look and feel to these few films that they put out now, and I don't really have a problem with it. But it is sort of, it's interesting, at least to me, that they're right. That seems to be the direction they're running. They're trying to give off that it has the same feel and look that's like the Filippo brothers again, but it's not, and they're writing that a little bit. So I'm just wondering if people will get annoyed if they don't. I don't know. realize that. But I'm keen anyway. Double thumbs up.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. It looks scary and like something I don't want to watch, but also like it could be very engaging. One thing I'll say, it's crazy to see Mia Wasikowska playing the mother of a teenage boy. That makes me feel old. You know, not a great sign. Yeah, I mean, it is being distributed by Maslow Entertainment, at least here in Australia, but I think it's getting a neon release overseas. So, maybe it's got something to do with it there, or it's one of the other production companies. Like, of course, you're going to put, your other major success stories, the producers' success stories in Speak to Me and the Babadook in the trailer and that kind of stuff. So, that's just marketing stuff. So,
yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just wondering if if they lean too heavily into it, especially from an American point of view, though, it becomes sort of, especially from an Australian film point of view, then it's like, they expect, if all of Australia's big hits in a close succession are all films that look to have this like style and everything, and then it sort of shoots in the foot for other Australian films that don't, especially in the horror genre, I guess. But maybe that's just the way it looks in the trailer as well. So I'll find out when I watch it.
You can watch it on the 18th of June in cinemas. Next trailer, One Spoon of Chocolate, directed by RZA, starring Shamik Moore, Paris Jackson, RJ Seiler, Harry Goodwin, Janelle Young, Michael Harney, Rockmond, Dunbar, Emery Crutchfield, Blair Underwood, Jason Isbell, Isaiah Hill, James Lee Thomas, and Jason Vendrais. An ex-military convict seeks a fresh start in a small town, but his past catches up as he finds love amid danger and chaos. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for the latest film from RZA?
Double thumbs down. Didn't really do anything for me. It sort of looked like he did that like I remember it came out in like 2007. It had splashed all over the front. Produced by Quentin Tarantino and some like samurai sort of thing. That one I thought was fun, but I just feel like it's the same vibe and feel, but it's just not. I don't know. I wasn't vibing with it. Wasn't vibing with it tonight. Double thumbs down.
I give it one up and down. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I always meant to watch his first film, The Man with the Iron Fist. Never got around to watching
that one. Yeah,
that came out in 2011. So
what the fuck? What did I say? 2000.
I think it looks pretty good. It's very weird seeing Shamik Moore. It's like it's bad. The guy who voices Spider-Man, who voices Miles Morales, being like a crazy convict who's fighting people with brass knuckles and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it looks solid. So be intrigued to check this one out. It is currently slated for a May 1st release in the US with no Australian release date. Final trailer for this week. That's been a long time coming. This trailer is for Coyote vs. Acme, directed by Dave Green, starring Will Forte, Lana Condor, Tone Bell, and John Cena. After Acme products fail him one too many times in his dogged pursuit of the Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote decides to hire a billboard lawyer to sue the Acme Corporation. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Coyote vs. Acme?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's double thumbs up. It looks like so much fun and a good time, and I'm just really confused why it ever nearly considered sitting in a box somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, 2 thumbs up for me as well. It looks really, really good. Even this kind of made me just want to watch a Roadrunner cartoon, like with a live action background. You know what I mean? Like, because it does look really cool, like having Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote in the real world running on, like, I guess, real-esque roads and that kind of stuff.
It's sort of
with the
weird
real
that,
backdrops.
Yeah, it's sort of surprising how well not surprising in some ways, because obviously we've had Looney Tunes real characters before. Maybe that's part of it, like a psychological thing where you've seen them interact with characters before. Now they look better than before. So you're like, man, it's like Space Jam, but better.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, just the concept of the film being Wile E. Coyote suing Acme, who seem to have some sort of larger conspiracy theory, and Foghorn Leghorn seems to be involved in some way behind Acme and that kind of stuff, and seeing all the Looney Tunes characters kind of pop up for different things and that kind of stuff. And just seeing some of the Looney Tunes-esque action kind of tie into real world stuff, like, bombs and dynamite going off in the real world and that kind of stuff, when you'd expect it to be more cartoony and that kind of thing. I also appreciate them branding Warner Brothers as a subsidiary of Acme, and that's the reason that this movie got canned, because Acme does not want you to see this movie.
Mm.
That's the real reason. This has been a 4-year marketing campaign to get this movie in the cinemas.
Whatever helps them sleep at night.
All right. Acme versus Coyote is finally coming to cinemas in the US on the 28th of August, and then is coming to Australian cinemas on the 17th of September. Very keen for that. All right, let's move on to this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And with the release of Devil Wears Prada 2 this week, and what looks to be a very, very stacked 2026 for her, this week's top 3 is top 3 Anne Hathaway films. Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Love and Other Drugs. Have you watched this?
No, but I'm aware of.
So
Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Jake Gyllenhaal, Anne Hathaway. I know the movie has got mixed reviews and stuff like that. I quite enjoy it. So the plot, it's a romance, but basically, I mean, I think there's a world where Jake Gyllenhaal's someone else, and maybe the movie's better. Like, he's fine in it, but the chemistry between them is not 100%. Like, it's enough to make the movie work, but I think there's a better movie if you change him potentially. But the plot's pretty much like these two people like me, and get together, and there's this whole finds out that Anne Hathaway's character is she's going to get Parkinson's. Like, it's early signs, or she gets like I can't remember exactly how it's like. She gets told like you will start getting Parkinson's in the next 5 years, sort of thing. And it's like how they choose to deal with the relationship, knowing that, and potentially or not potentially moving forward the relationship because of that, and what that would mean for these two people to stay together, and how living with someone with Parkinson's would work, and all these sorts of things. Yeah, so she has a lot of really good moments in it. Obviously, very heartfelt, big sort of scenes that play out with her pouring her heart out over how dealing with this and stuff like that. So, Love and Other Drugs.
All right. My number 3 is The Intern, which is a 2015 Nancy Meyers film, which also stars Robert De Niro, in which Robert De Niro plays a 70-year-old widower who's retired but feels unfulfilled not having a job. So he accepts a job as a elderly intern at a fashion startup. It's like, I don't know how to describe the business, but yeah, it's like a fashion website where they like arrange to get clothes sent out to people and that kind of stuff, which is founded by Anne Hathaway's character. And Robert De Niro plays the intern who ostensibly becomes her assistant. And, it's them coming to like each other and, coming to accept each other into each other's lives and grow this blossoming friendship, which is really nice to watch. So I really enjoy it. Robert De Niro is really good in it, but Anne Hathaway is really fantastic, even though it's very weird that she is married to one of the workaholics guys in this film. It seems like Nancy Meyers was just a big fan of workaholics because she has Adam Devine from the show, and then one of the other guys as the husband. So yeah, The Intern, that's my number 3. Dylan, what's your number 2?
Number 2, Les Miserables.
My number 1 is Les Mis. Yes, that is her best performance.
Les Miserables, people. Les Mis. Yeah, it's her strongest performance. It's her Academy Award performance. She's singing. She's doing these. She's down on the ground. She's everything. She's playing this character that goes through so much shit. Yeah,
getting her head shaved.
She's getting her head shaved. It's
It
her
used to be a
all-in
big
performance.
thing. Now everybody's doing it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, it is Anne Hathaway's. That's the one. It's not my number 1, but it is.
That's the one you point out and go, wow, that's incredible work. So that's my number 1. I'm going to guess that your number 1 might be my number 2. So Dylan, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is The Princess Diaries.
Okay, it's not the same. You go.
The Princess Diaries, I watched it a lot as a kid when it came out, and I quite enjoy it. I know it's not like a super strong performance, but that's sort of what I remember coming from. Of course, this woman finds out she's next, like, in line for the sort of throne, or she's a princess has long lost some weird thing. I can't remember the exact name. I've watched it for many years, and then Julie Andrews comes in and sort of helps her get prim and
Princessly.
proper and and all that sort of stuff. But it's fun because she still wants to bring along her school friends, and she's trying to balance the normality side and dealing with the sudden dealing of being amongst royalty. And you get all these funny scenes that play out, of course, with this normal woman suddenly thrust into all these prim and proper people and stuff like that. So I have a soft spot for that film. Not the second one, but the first one, yes.
Okay. Looking forward
Your
to the
number one's
third
The
one.
Dark Knight Rises. Maybe.
My number one is Interstellar. Obviously, she's not the lead, but she's plays a very important role in this fantastical sci-fi epic. And in a world where Matthew McConaughey is probably at the height of his powers at this time, she is very worthy of being on screen opposite him. So I would say that is my number 2 on my list. And she knew how to work with Nolan post Dark Knight Rises. So it's very interesting because I feel like Anne Hathaway weirdly was one of the first to go on this weird trajectory where the internet kind of got sick of her. Like they kind of had enough of her, and then she had to go away for a little bit and just kind of slowly worked her way back to.
What's the internet even know?
Yeah, because can you remember that she hosted the Oscars with? She hosted the Oscars with James Franco that one year. It was a disaster. So that was at the peak of it, and then but now she's got 6 movies coming out.
And then everyone will go back to being sick of her.
Yeah, maybe because she's older, they'll be like, "Oh, it's fine. This old lady needs an opportunity." All right, Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
I was just trying to quickly decide on that. Let's go. I'm going to go Hokum is in cinemas finally. The horror film starring
Adam Scott.
Yep, that's it. Thank you. The horror film starring Adam Scott from the Australian director, whose name I also can't remember. But anyway, that's cool. And then on the TV front, Man on Fire season 1 comes out, which we talked about a trailer last week.
Yep. I mean, I have to say Man on Fire as well. That looks fantastic with the Aha Abdul II. On the movie front, not much for me this week. But I will highlight Wolfram, which is coming to cinemas. Warwick Thornton's next film, which apparently is a sequel to Sweet Country, which I believe we watched for this somewhere, from memory.
I know if we watched
Either
it
a
for
spoiler
this,
cast or what did we end up watching? I feel like we watched it for the content.
Potentially. I watched it a couple times, so maybe one time was for this.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So those would be my 2 recommendations this week. Let us know what you want to watch this week by going to explosionerror.com/follow and let us know on social media. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on our podcast or Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, and if you leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, or do you want to help us out with all our other podcasts and news reviews and stuff, head on over to explosionerror.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.